starting off with the very bottom of the barrel, and that is going to be the Arizona Cardinals for me. I really, looking at this roster, looking at this team, I don't like this team like at all. Uh, there's not a lot of pieces that I like. There's not a lot of pieces that I think fit, and I have them going a full 1-16. It's a rough schedule, and there's a couple of pieces where they could probably pick up wins here and there. Maybe week 5 against Tennessee or week 6 against Indy. There's a couple of things here and there where it could probably tip their way. But this team just isn't super talented, and I don't think they've made a lot of moves to improve too much. Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson isn't moving the needle for me. Josh Sweat isn't moving the needle for me. Will Johnson was one of the best corners in the draft, and I love that they drafted him. Good for him because he's a stud. That's awesome. A lot of it comes down to Kyler. How is he going to play? The line is it's probably going to be put up for one of the worst lines in the league, and you're going to have Kyler play hero ball, and you don't want that. It's not a guy you want to consistently play hero ball. Marvin Harrison Jr. is extremely talented, extremely young, but then you have Zay Jones and Michael Wilson. It's an okay core. Trey McBride's awesome. It's just I'm not sure what we're doing on the defense side of the ball. It's pretty weak with a really weak offensive line on top of that. So, like I said, a couple of the games can swing one way or another. I ultimately have them going 1-16.
Yeah, we're a little different here.
Okay.
I think it's probably because I watch them a lot more, and I do have the respect there for Kyler Murray and the offense that they have with the Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. I do have them last in the division, but I have them going 6-11. And
Okay.
what I would ask you is when you look at Kyler Murray, when you look at Marvin Harrison, when you look at Trey McBride, can they beat the Saints?
Yeah.
Of course, right? They can beat the Panthers. They can steal one of the games against the Seahawks. They can beat the Titans. The Jacksonville Jaguars game, that seems like a 50-50 to me. And so there's games on their schedule where I can see them just winning or losing. But when two shitty teams play football, one of them has to win. So why not the guy with a really good quarterback and a really good receiver? I know that our boy Bryce came on a little bit last year, but who knows what Cam Ward looks like this year, and who knows who the Colts starting quarterback's going to be? Like they're playing the Colts, Anthony Richardson might be in that game and he might sprain his pinky, so they might have to bench him or something crazy like that. So there's just a lot of subpar games on that schedule that can go either way, and because I inherently have a fear in my heart of Kyler Murray because I've seen him do it. I just tend to side with Kyler a little bit, but still last in the division, absolutely nowhere near a playoff spot. And to be honest with you, when you're paying all that money to a quarterback and you're not making the playoffs, it's a rough place to be.
Absolutely. I'm right there. And, I do think part of it definitely comes down to bias on my part, where Arizona sometimes ended up a victim of my own, like where I wanted to play certain things, where I'm like, oh, I think I want to hand this team another win. I don't like really where their standing is. Where could I hand them another win? Oh, it's this one. This one that could definitely give them win. So part of it definitely is part of my own bias. Yeah, a lot of these games can swing one way or another. I'm still super unsure about that defense. The offense is talented in terms of the pieces of Kyler, James Conner, Trey Benson, the wide receiver core, but the offensive line is awful, and the defense has massive questions, and that's kind of where I sit. Could go one way or another, but there's a lot of hero ball that has to be played for that to go the other way, essentially.
Yeah,
who do you have at
their offense might look a lot like Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel running around like his head was cut off, hucking it up to Mike Evans down the field. There might be a lot of that to Marvin Harrison this year, but I'm hoping he has a big year because he was like the 6th or 7th best wide receiver out of the rookie class last year. So I'm hoping he bounces back in a big way.
Absolutely. Who do you have at third place?
I have the Sea Chickens coming in third there, 10th overall in the conference, 7-10. I think they got rid of their quarterback and signed a quarterback that's in the same talent level as the quarterback they got rid of, but it's just, the Seahawks, they find ways to do things. They have an excellent home field advantage, And I just think that, it's kind of the same thing as the Cardinals. There's just a lot of games they play this year where it's kind of them versus another lackluster team. And I'm a little biased towards this team because they ruined my life for many, many years.
Right. I mean, I have them at third place as well. I have them at 9-8, 12th place in the division. Also missing the playoffs. The gap in the NFC, I text you about it, is so wild because it literally goes 1-16, 1-16, 2-15, 7-10. It's a 5-win gap between that third and the fourth, and then it keeps rising from there. And spoiler alert, there's going to be some good teams with good records that miss the playoffs, unfortunately, in the NFC. Seattle is going through changes. Sam Darnold, a lot of question marks about him, even with how he played last year. And game in and game out, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And finally, in the last 2 games of the season, the other shoe drops. And it kind of leaves a bad taste in Minnesota's mouth. And you're not going to be brought back at that point anymore. But you brought in Cooper Kupp. That's great if he can stay healthy. Marcus Valdez-Scantling is a great deep threat. Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be the number 1 option guy out there, even with Cooper Kupp out there. He's going to have the most catches and most yards. I'm not sure about most touchdowns, but I think most catches and most yards on that team for sure. And the offensive line, still a lot of questions. Charles Cross is great. Abraham Lucas, is he going to stay healthy? Or are you going to have to start Michael Jarrell, who was the worst tackle in the league last year, I'm pretty sure? Questions there as well. So there's a lot going on with
Was he the worst tackle?
I'm pretty sure he was bottom 3 at the very worst. I already said that we have the worst duo in the league. Okay, just give me something. But they did add D-Law. They added DeMarcus Lawrence. It's an okay defense at best, I think, with a lot of young talent with Witherspoon and Woolen and Kobe Bryant. Some of those guys are just names at this point. Like Julian Love, and what was the last one I just said? Kobe Bryant plays okay at the safety spot, but it's just so they're mainly just names. It's an okay at best defense. Going 9-8, I think, is the more optimistic side of things. But yeah, I do have them 12th overall in that conference.
That's crazy that you have them lower ranked than I do conference wise, but with more wins than I do.
We usually don't text about anything, but you said that there's 2 teams at 10-7 that missed the playoffs. I don't think they're the same teams. I don't. Because I don't even think I like that I have these 2 teams at 10-7, but then I was having a rough time dropping certain games.
It's not 2 teams at 10-7. I got a team at 11-6 that misses the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, first let's go ahead and roll on to second place.
I think this is our first disagreement here.
Second place, I have the San Francisco 49ers, and you have the Rams. So, laying it all on the line, I don't think that this roster is as good as, for me, 12-5 says. 12-5, making the playoffs as a 7 seed. I don't think that this roster is that good, but you look at the schedule, and you're beating New Orleans, Arizona, Jacksonville. You're also beating Atlanta. You're beating New York. You're beating LA once, and the Rams. And you're beating Arizona again, Carolina, Cleveland, Tennessee, Indy, and Seattle. It's not a super strong schedule, as in the easiest schedule in the league. So that I think you guys are a huge benefit of that. And where do you see your team? Your defense, your offensive line, where do you really see you guys? I mean, obviously you have them at 1, but you really see them as a first place team?
I mean, the offensive line comes back. What if Trent Williams is healthy and plays the entire year? Mm-hmm. What if Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk are healthy and plays the entire year? Jawan Jennings has elevated himself to a number 1 wide receiver. We don't have Debo there causing drama anymore about touches. George Kittle was one of the best tight ends in the league last year. Then you switch to the defense, and all we did was draft defense. We added to the defensive line. We got Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, still Fred Warner, and the corners are good. So realistically, I'm that Niners fan every year that's nervous about my team, but I just don't see like how we can lose certain games if everybody's healthy. Now, obviously the roster is a little older, but I just think with how easy the schedule is, we're just going to win we're going to win games this year. And pound for pound, you know, do you want to segue into the Rams right here? Do you have more to say about the 49ers?
No, we could segue directly into them. Yeah, you're
like
good.
like pound for pound, I just don't think that Devontae Adams is better than Cooper Kupp. You know, like the third down stuff that Cooper Kupp does for them. And is Matt Stafford going to be good this year? Like eventually
it's
he's
definitely a question
not
for
gonna
sure.
be. You know, eventually he won't
Mm-hmm.
be. Maybe he is this year. And their defense, we already know the defense. We don't even have to talk about the defense. You know, like you lose Aaron
Right.
Donald and your defense gets better. Like that's crazy to me. But like Matt Stafford eventually has to not be good. And I'm just betting
Sure.
on this being one of the years that they're just not good. Now, that being said, I got them going 11-6, so losing one less game than the Niners and not winning the division. So I'm still banking on the
Making the
Rams.
playoffs.
Oh, yeah, they're 7th
Okay.
for me. So
Okay.
they make the playoffs. Sean McVay is amazing. That defense is amazing. I think the offense is only going to have to do so much. But I don't see the switch off they made at wide receiver. I don't understand why they did that, except unless you're just really worried about Cooper Kupp and his injuries or whatever. But obviously, Puka
I think it's good
Nacua
enough reason.
is legit, but I
Yeah.
know Devontae is Devontae, and I get it, but it's just like some SI reporter or whatever put out his power rankings the other day, and he has the Steelers at number 1 because they're supposed to sign Aaron Rodgers. Like, what? Like, is that a benefit? I don't understand that, you know. And so I like Devontae. Devontae is good. Obviously, I own Devontae's jersey. But at this point, I just think it's going to rely a lot on the pieces surrounding Matt Stafford instead of him elevating them this year. And,
Sure. Yeah.
you know, so I got them at 11-6, 7th in the conference and making the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, just to reiterate, I have the Niners at 12-5, making the playoffs as the 7th seed. And the LA Rams going 13-4, winning the division and placing at the 3rd seed. So I hear what you're saying, and I think that.
So let's run through this one real quick. Week 1 against the Texans.
For the Rams?
Yeah.
Rams win.
All right. Obviously, they win week 2. Week 3 against the Eagles.
They lose.
Okay. Good. Who do you got weeks 4 and 5?
They win.
Agreed. Ravens?
They lose.
Right. And then they beat the Jags.
Yep.
They beat the Saints.
Yep.
They lose to the Niners.
Yep.
They beat the Seahawks and Bucks.
Yep.
They beat the Panthers.
Yep.
They beat the Cardinals.
Nope.
You have them losing to the Cardinals. You have them beating the Lions.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I have them. Yeah, beating Arizona, losing to the Lions. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
And then they're winning the Seahawks game here.
Yep.
So I have them dropping that one, and they're beating this Falcons game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're beating the Cardinals.
Yes.
Okay, so I have them losing once to the Seahawks, and I have them losing to the Texans week 1. That's pretty much the difference in you and I.
Okay. And I think
you're burying your team, the Texans this year, dog. Top 5. The Bills aren't even in the power rankings.
I did the rankings originally, and the Texans had a lot more wins, and I was like, I gotta reel it the fuck back, because I started looking at the rosters, additions, subtractions. I'm like, I gotta reel it the fuck back again. I can't do it again. I'm like, I'm gonna reel it back just a little bit, and that was one of the games that they dropped. So yeah, we're 1 spot difference. I'm a 1 game difference between the Niners and the Rams. It's gonna all come down to basically the final week of the season. So 1 game difference. 13-4, 12-5, 3rd seed, 7th seed. Not anything super duper crazy.
Okay. Well, that's the NFC West.